A story about a friend of mine who works for World Vision. He was a young guy in Africa, 24, on the back of a truck, way out, 2 hours from a major city, bumping along a road which has potholes big enough to swallow trucks. Africa only has 15% of roads paved. Africa desperately needs better infrastructure if it's going to lift itself out of poverty. Well, Dave, who's our international COO, went on to have a brilliant career at Boston Consulting. Still lives in Boston, was 2IC running the global consulting organisation, made zillions, now works for World Vision for nothing. He's about my age. But what got him into World Vision after being a consultant was what happened in Africa when he was about 23, on the back of a truck, bouncing along, bone jarring, 2 hours. The truck screeches to a halt. He looks out around the side and there is a massive tree across the road, thick bush on either side. You can't go round. They all get out. There is one lone African sitting on top of the truck with this tiny tomahawk and this massive trunk chipping futilely away. This is never going to work. They reverse a bit, a number of times, a few turns, reverse, get out big chains, thinking they'll use chains to drag this with the force of the truck. But they can't get the chains around this massive trunk. It is so big. They think this is hopeless. 2 hours bone-jarring journey back. There must be something we can do. So they all decide to put their shoulder to the trunk. And other trucks come the other way. They've stopped, they've walked round, they've had the problem explained. Chains won't work, you know, tomahawk will never get through it. So they agree. They all put their shoulders to the trunk. On 3, they all heave. This is such a dead weight. This tree barely shudders. Dave hadn't realised what Africa was like. You think you're out in the bush, miles from anywhere. And suddenly, people just start appearing out of the bush. And Africans start coming. They're enlisted. They put their shoulders to the tree. On 3, they all heave. It shudders. It doesn't move. They're about to give up. Dave, or someone says, let's give it one last go. Let's not die wondering. Dave remembers this last time, putting his shoulder to the trunk. He remembers that this frail African elderly man just came out of the bush, snuggled in next to Dave with his shoulder to the trunk. He remembers because Dave looked at this elderly man and thought, fat lot of good you're going to do. So old, so weak. Anyway, before they count and heave, this African elderly man starts to sing. It's an African song. The Europeans, Anglo-Saxons didn't know it, but the Africans did, and they're waiting. And it's clear they're waiting. And this song is building to a moment. And when it hits this particular moment, they all know to heave, and they heave. This massive trunk moves about a centimetre. They stop, they have a breather, they put their shoulders again. This African man starts to sing. Dave's ready this time. It hits that particular note and point, and they all heave. It moves another centimetre. Dave said we sung and heaved 50, 60 times. Centimetre by centimetre by centimetre by centimetre, until there was just enough room for the truck to squeeze through and keep going. Dave said this was the most important learning for my future as a consultant. He said the mission never changed. What was the mission? It was to move this trunk, to keep going in the direction we wanted to go. He said the strategy never changed. It couldn't be a tomahawk. It couldn't be chains. The strategy could only be human effort. So what changed? What changed was a frail, elderly African man's song. Who would look to him as the one with the solution, as the leader? His song reached into their hearts, drew out something that just didn't seem to be there before, got them into alignment where their energy seemed to be maximised. Leadership is actually reaching in and drawing out of people something that they don't know is there.